And so, like, like I think Robin put a thing about or it's who's going to be the bigger player, Elon or Saylor, and I go, I think Saylor's got the upper hand here. I really do. And I don't think anyone's going to catch the guy. Like, he's already captured such a huge percentage, and he's just not stopping. Like, he's relentlessly pursuing the game of competitive resource capture. But he's a guy who got in early and went, oh, that's the resource I need to grab. And once I get that, then all the rest flow from that. So yeah, it's Elon's got a short window, but he's also got a lot of enormous power. He wields enormous power in that he controls a bunch of other tangible resources as well. So
Right.
they're big, huge players on the board, but it doesn't matter how many launch vehicles Elon has, he can't capture as much Bitcoin as Saylor has. He's already so far behind that curve, unless he's been stacking secretly in the dark. But yeah, Saylor's got a big fat lead on that game.
I
Yeah.
asked my YouTube community if they think that Michael Saylor will be, outside of Satoshi Nakamoto, the richest and most powerful player in the world. And 77% said yes, 19% said no, and 4% just said, hey, show me the results. So an overwhelming majority of my viewers, okay, it's like 300 people from the first 4 hours that voted on that, truly think that. And it's kind of massive when you think about resource allocation and the most valuable resource being Bitcoin, and Michael Saylor being the one that gathered the most Bitcoin possible from 2020 onwards to this year. I think like 1.5 years ago, he had like 100,000 Bitcoin, something like that, with MicroStrategy. Now we are approaching 600,000. So the rate of how fast he can get those resources and how fast he can get ahead is dramatically is just really good. And to your point, Daniel, with like secretly stacking, I think that's a really interesting topic, because what if Elon Musk is secretly stacking? That's the only way that he can really literally do it. If he reveals that he does a similar strategy than Saylor, and he actually buys very aggressively than Saylor, Bitcoin price will be at 1 million, 10 million, and going upwards. Because if Elon Musk does that, like Jeff Bezos will also do it. Those people are all connected. If one of those really rich dudes is going something aggressive, all of the other ones will do at least a little bit, like and kind of going with that. It's like this game theory aspect. And this competitive resource capturing aspect that all wants to play in, and so the incentive is to get as many as possible. And the point I was trying to make is Michael Saylor has a really nice position where it's no longer a surprise if he gets another 50,000 Bitcoin. Like, people are not, like, he doesn't move the market anymore because nobody is really surprised that he buys Bitcoin. But if Elon Musk goes out and says like, oh, I want to buy a little bit more Bitcoin, all of a sudden, like, the market really can move because he is a big player and he is popular. So it will be a lot harder for him to get to 500,000 Bitcoin. I don't know if it's even possible, because you have to think how the market moves. If people see, oh, like in one quarter, the Tesla has 10,000 Bitcoin. Let's say they buy 100,000 Bitcoin next quarter. that will send shockwaves through the whole S&P 500. And that's the tricky part of saying, like, will someone else come in and like, because right now, like, Elon Musk is there and then like Saylor is here, just like from like what's the actual net worth and the impact on the world. But he has the better tool. So even if Elon Musk figures out today, which is very highly unlikely, that he needs to get more Bitcoin because he just like has 1,000 other things to do, and we talked about that in the long train ride we had in a loft. I hated that we did not record that, because it was really fun to talk. It was like, oh, like, he has a Tesla, so he has all the electric cars. He has SpaceX. He can shoot things in the sky. He has the boring tunnel. He can do everything underground. And so Elon Musk is really powerful and really influential. But if he doesn't secretly stack or gets a lot of Bitcoin somehow, Saylor will take him over. Like, it's just like at a point of who can do it in a better way. Jeff Bezos, maybe also, like all those really like top 10 richest guys, and maybe some like Saudi guy that we don't know, and that he's not on the richest guys list, but he is more influential and stuff like that. So I'm just like really positive on what's to come with Bitcoin, and what's to come with Saylor and all those things. And I just look at a lot of people, and then like, hey, we should get more Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that, man.
yeah.
I just love that you've been around for so long, and you always have a funny take. And I like the glory hole capture theory. That's pretty fun.
Hey, that's a
Yeah,
whole new
that's a whole new book.
concept.
That's
Oh,
Fritz's
that's
book,
another
though.
book. That would be a good title.
Don't make it the
Title for
title.
it. Yeah, we should. We could rename our podcast the.
Yeah, the glory hole capture theory.
Yeah, that would get views.
Oh
Um,
my god. Yeah,
moving forward. Yeah, so I just think Elon has all these tangible assets and traction in the physical world for sure, and the engagement and all that. But all he can do in Bitcoin is just accumulate. And meanwhile, I keep half expecting him to post something about Doge. It's like he hasn't gotten over something there. I think he's in transformation, but it's just like, Elon, come on, just go all in. Do you not see it yet? You got to let go of your ego. It's like, the bigger the ego, the slower you are to let go and just get Bitcoin, I think sometimes.
he is
Because
capturing legacy resources. Sorry to interrupt, Fritz.
yes,
Please continue.
yes. Well, so whereas Saylor has built all these financial mechanisms and derivations and systems that are just churning Bitcoin through our financial world, which is trickling out into companies and other companies or funds looking at that, going, well, he was first and he didn't die. Let's do more of that. So it's a huge impact. Saylor orange pilled me years ago when he just equated Bitcoin and the science of those economics to like the laws of thermodynamics, and that Bitcoin is stored energy and a new innovation unlike anything else. And that's when I had my first kind of big aha moment with it. And when on your podcast earlier today, with it released with Daniel on Robin's site, um, you talked about comparing it to like other inventions of the world. When you compare it to like the invention of fire, the invention of the wheel, you can say Bitcoin is even better. Like what? How? Okay, so if you have a fire, someone can come in and put it out or take it from you. If you have the wheel, somebody can break it or take it from you. The thing about Bitcoin is like it can't be taken from you. That's the huge innovation here. It's different than any other asset that's ever existed in that regard.
Exactly. And you actually hit something like so squarely on the head. It's pretty remarkable in just how profound this statement is. The only way Elon Musk can catch up is to go buy Bitcoin.
He just has to buy it at this point.
Well, but think about what that means, right? Like you go, if Michael Saylor were stacking gold right now, you go, the only thing Elon Musk can do is, almost unlimited things. He could send a few dozen of his intercontinental ballistic missiles towards Saylor's house and go, hey, you better give me that gold or I'm going to blow it into dust. I might not get it, but you don't get it either, buddy. Can't do that with Bitcoin. The only
Right.
way, the most powerful man, arguably, on planet Earth right now, the guy that has a constellation of satellites surrounding the Earth, is deeply embedded in the military industrial complex, is deeply embedded in telecommunications, is deeply embedded in light and heavy industry, and is deeply embedded in infrastructure. The only way he can get Bitcoin is to go buy some,
Yeah.
just like you, just like me. And
No,
that
it's like,
is why Bitcoin is such a huge game changer here. Because it's true
yeah,
of everybody, every powerful person on planet Earth, when they turn around and look and they go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I got to, how can I get more of this? Well, you better pony up some money, buddy. And you might want to get rid of some of those other ding dong assets you have, like all that land that you're holding uselessly. Might want to get rid of that if you want to maintain your status and your power and your control. And you want to get Bitcoin, you better get rid of all the junk that you don't need and redistribute that down to people that can actually use it for something beneficial.
yeah.
So,
A judge in New Hampshire can't say, nope, you're not going to have that.
right.
A different thing going on there. But I mean, he's faced that. People can say, no, you're not going to get that. Or, yeah, we're going to take away that. Not if it's Bitcoin.
Right. But the only way he can get it, the most powerful person, the weakest person on planet Earth has to get Bitcoin the exact same way. That's why it's a big change in the global political economy. And that's why Saylor is so ahead of the curve in terms of if you buy into the idea that this is a competitive resource capture economy, which I think I can establish is a pretty robust theory, then the guy who's capturing the most resources right now by a mile as a single holder is Michael Saylor. So you go, who's going to win the game of competitive resource capture? The guy who has the most resources, and that so yeah, it's a big deal, man. Like
I mean, there is also Larry Fink that doesn't hold themselves, but they are holding it for the clients, which in Bitcoin terms is holding it. Like
exactly.
they are owning it. I mean, they don't hold it themselves. I mean, Coinbase, as far as I know, holds most of the coins.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's interesting because um, when we look at Elon Musk and a lot of people screaming at him and saying like, oh, like why doesn't he get Bitcoin? But he, from all the people in his level, he gets it the most. Like when we look to Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and all those kind of fiat legacy resource capture guys, he's still the only company in the S&P 500 that has Bitcoin on the balance sheet. He's still like he's one of the people that found it a little bit. And this is really, really important to note because he has so much other things to do. Like he is sending rockets, like he's digging tunnels, like he's doing electric cars. Now he wanted to completely overthrow the American government and try to control the budget, which was an impossible thing from the begin with, I think. So here's a lot to think about, a lot of things kind of cooking, and then to have something completely new coming up with like this annoying Bitcoin maxis on Bitcoin Twitter saying that he should have fun staying poor. I think it's just something that just like scratches his ick a little bit. He completely underestimates it, but at least he gets it. I don't see Mark Zuckerberg doing anything. I don't see Bill Gates doing anything, Jeff Bezos anything. And from that point of view, like I give him a lot of kudos for that actually, because at least he gets it a little bit. Of course, he has his shitcoin things going on, and he has his Doge things going on. But he only bought Bitcoin with Tesla, and I always am a big fan of watch what they do and not what they say. And he never bought any Dogecoin with Tesla, and that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, that's true. Daniel, I mean, as we ponder this resource capture theory, and I love it, it makes me think of the game of Survivor, on TV and sort of that. It's a different kind of a set of rules there, but on I think it was season 2 of the American Survivor when it was still kind of new, and at the end, the last episode where they awarded the winner and all that stuff. At the very end, right before the credits, Jeff Probst said, "If you like Survivor or thinking of being a player on Survivor, read John Forbes Nash's uh, game theory and the Nash equilibrium." I don't know if you're aware of him or not. I started to read about him a little bit. That movie with I can't remember the actor's
Beautiful
name.
mind. Yeah.
A Beautiful Mind. That's about John Nash, and he managed mental health issues, but he did game theory on basically when there's a limited resource game and you have a number of players, they all have their strategies, and people shift around to get what they can, best they can. And at some point, that movement of pieces enters a kind of an equilibrium, the Nash equilibrium, which is just an interesting theory about this game theory on finite resource. Anyway,
Yeah.
something to ponder.
Well, I mean, in terms of game theoretic things, like there are, it's not a perfect theory either in terms of, like game theory itself is not a perfect theory. There are no perfect theories, right? And it also somewhat applies to, like, if you talk about a global competitive resource capture game, right? Like you can kind of see how that plays and why it plays and how it plays throughout the ages. And one of the things I'm always fond of saying is, like, all isms are a means or a lever to try and capture more resources, right? So, like Robin just brought up, like Elon Musk is now trying to create a political party in America. You go, well, what lever are you pulling right there? But there's only four levers for every human being on planet Earth. There's community, there's sociality, being sociable, there's individuality, and then there's spirituality. And so those are the four levers that people have always been pulling since the dawn of competitive resource capture. Spirituality won for a long time, but you can kind of see that regionally, right? Like in the West, Europe, and the United States in particular, they pull the levers of individuality. In the East, they pull communal levers. In the Middle East, they pull spiritual levers. And then in some other areas, and it's not they just pull that one lever; they pull some combination of those levers. But those are all the things that they use to manipulate and move. Like just like a herdsman drives cattle. Those are the levers they use. The behavioral levers that the game players use to get us to be a resource devoted to one lever puller versus another. But so what lever is Elon pulling because he's pulling on the individualism lever, and he's pulling on the same lever that founded America basically. But it's also, depending on how cynical you are, you go, well, he's also pulling a lever to try and capture more resources. He's trying to get more resources to come under his banner than someone else's banner. So, and not that that's necessarily nefarious. You can have benevolent, benign leaders that have your best interests, but all power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so there will come a threshold, unless that guy manages to merge himself with his robots and become something bigger than human. He's susceptible to the same influences. So